Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I have a walking tour for you today. This is from our cruise in July of 2025 on Oasis of the Seas. And we had one of our stops was in St. Kitts, which we'd never been to before. We really enjoyed the island. We ended up doing a tour of the island, which was a lot of fun. But this is of the immediate port area, like as soon as you get off the ship and you walk down the pier. I'm going to give you a word of warning on this. And if you've ever been to Cozumel, you'll know what I mean. As soon as you get right into that port area, you can kind of get hit up with a lot of, do you want a taxi ride here? Do you want a bus tour here? Do you want this? Do you want that? There's guys that have the monkeys that will put them on your shoulder and they'll take a picture of you and then you owe them $10 or $20, whatever it is. So just be warned when you get into that port area, it's going to be pretty heavy. One thing, if you're just going there kind of for the shopping aspect, right around there, there's a lot of shops. And if you do it a little later in the day, even right after lunch, a lot of those kind of heavy sales tactics, they're going to die down a lot. Those people are just going to kind of get tired and not want to be so pushy. So I hope you enjoy the video. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for watching. And here we are right where the ship is docked. So after you get off the ship, you're coming down the pier, and there is a neighboring pier, but it doesn't look like that's gets nearly the amount of cruise traffic as this one. So we're going to head down and then turn to the right, and we'll get to that point and take a look back at the ship. So here you go. You kind of wonder how these islands survive a hurricane, but I guess some of those gigantic boulders would absorb the impact of the waves when they do get one that hits. So you can see this yellow building here is where you're going to pass through. And this is coming and going. So there's going to be a security checkpoint when you are heading back to the ship. So just make sure to have your SeaPass card ready. And over here on the left, and some of this inside is where some of the excursion groups meet, and then probably get on a bus to do whatever they're doing. But if you're just doing shopping, or you're kind of walking around this port area, you just head through here and you go straight through, and you can already see this sign right there. A lot of people stop and get their picture taken and all that next to that St. Kitts sign. And it's not too far in. You can already see you get the duty-free shops, all the jewelry stores and all of that. I would say the more higher end stores are going to be right in this beginning section. I'm assuming probably the rent is the highest right here. This is where you're also going to get some of these guys asking you, do you want a tour of this? Do you want a taxi ride here? Like I said before, just kind of give them a polite no thank you and keep walking, and it's all good. But you can see it's a nice port area. I was talking to somebody who works in one of the jewelry stores, and they said that their cruise traffic is very seasonal. So during late fall to early spring, when there's a ton of ships in the Caribbean, they get a lot of cruises like every day, where in middle of summer, like this was end of June, beginning of July. You can look back and get a good look at the ship right there. But you see it's, June into July, and I think they only had 4 cruise ships that were stopping at this port for the whole month of July. And some of that, I actually noticed there were a few of these. Now, this is fairly early, so when you see some of these that are closed up, they'll be open later on. But even later on, there were a few that still didn't open. I don't know if they just kind of call it a season and don't bother when there's so few cruise ships stopping in here. But if you even wait an hour or so after the ship is docked, a lot of these are going to be opened up. But this is where you're going to get a lot of people asking you, hey, do you want a special price on a ring? Do you want a necklace? Do you want a watch? Something like that. And they're trying to lure you into the store. If you even just stop and kind of look in the window, do a little window shopping, they're going to want you to go in and take a look around and tell you what great sales they have and great pricing. And, like a lot of the cruise ports, there's everything from the dollar refrigerator magnets to the t-shirts to the higher end items. So they're all kind of mixed in here. But this is actually a pretty nice cruise port for some of them. The size of it is really good too. And the No Rush bar right here, that's a good stop. That definitely got filled up towards the end of the day, where people were stopping, having a drink or two before they head back to the ship. Now, one thing that was weird, when we did the tour of the island and we came back here, we wanted to do a little shopping. All of the shops, the electricity went out. And I guess it's kind of a thing that happens occasionally. And so they couldn't run a card through or anything like that. You couldn't make a purchase. So it happens. I went off again about an hour later and everything was back on, which was good. This is what I kind of call, I guess they call it their food court here. It's almost more like a bar restaurant court. And this is one of the areas that definitely gets filled up later in the day. This is a good chance for you to see everything that's in here. So from 10 to 10, and again from about 1 o'clock until your ship leaves. This is definitely going to be a very popular area right here, but it's all laid out. All of these open up, serving drinks and food and all that good stuff. So it was kind of neat to take a look at some of these areas without them being super crowded. And then we're going to turn and head back down the main drag here, where there's the shops, the museum, and all of that. And coming up here, I believe, is going to be kind of the roundabout where a lot of the tour buses and taxis are. So we just kind of on a whim wanted to do a tour of the island. So we went down there. It was like $20 a person, gave them the money. We hopped on board, and within a couple minutes we were off and going. So that was definitely a lot of fun. And you can see off in the distance there, one of the things that's kind of unique, you get these mountains that are so high that they actually touch the bottom of the clouds. And coming from Florida, where everything is very flat and you don't get elevations like that, it's unique to see. Now, just so you know, if you do buy any alcohol here in port, you'll only be able to bring it on up into the security checkpoint when you get back on the ship. They'll hold it for you until the last night of the ship, and that's when they'll give it to you. And right down there is where there is the taxi roundabout, the taxis and the tour buses. It looks like there's more this way. Maybe if they were, I guess, entertaining more cruise ships or more often, maybe they would have some vendors in here. But this was really kind of a little bit of a dead end area. And then we just turn and head right back. But it's nice. It definitely feels secure. You don't kind of feel like you got to be watching for your wallet every minute of the day and everything like that. So it is nice. I think it really is just strictly for cruise passengers in here, which makes it good. And of course, only being one ship in port, it never really felt that crowded. Maybe if you had another, mega ship in port, it would start to get a little bit jammed a little bit later in the day. And there are in some areas shops on the second floor, so take a look at that too. And then this is where we kind of come back to that entryway. And when you head back here, this is where you want to have your SeaPass card handy just for security purposes to make sure you get through. You can just barely see the funnels on the cruise ship right there. And we'll take a walk through. And again, thank you for watching the video. Please remember to hit that subscribe button. And I got more great content coming at you. Thank you for checking out my video, and remember, if you're looking for a cruise, contact me and I'll find the perfect cruise vacation for you.